Says discussion of the resolution to require any agency receiving funding from the county to produce financial records. You know, there's not been a little bit of a, I don't know what word to use on that, uproar, disagreement, or some people not wanting to send it in. I talked with Jim about this, and he said there is a Tennessee code in the law book that says it gives us the right to request that. And I personally think it'd be a good idea that when Eric sends out the information, that we have that as part of it, that they know up front if they turn it in, they will be required to turn in that. And I just wanted to bring that up for discussion.
Okay, we went through this at the meeting last week. You agree with they should report for amount of money that we give them? Like, if we give, I'm just making this up, if we give the fire department $6,000, then they need to show us what they spent that $6,000 for. But it's none of our business what they do with their money.
That is correct.
Okay.
And Curtis, I don't know where he was from, Lakeview. Curtis Bank?
Yeah, Curtis Bank, yeah.
That's what he stated, that if the fire department is given $19,000 then from the county, then they should be required to have documentation for that $19,000.
And that's what
Anything above that, supposedly the way he quoted was none of anybody's business.
That's their monies that they raised on their own, so we have.
I agree with that now.
Right.
You know, if it comes, falls through contributions through the county,
Yeah.
but if they get out here and have roadblocks and take up money or have a breakfast or supper, whatever, and they raise money in that way, that shouldn't involve these. But anything we get should, I agree with statement number 6.
Do you know what the Tennessee code is on that?
It just says that when you give them contributions, and you have the right to collect receipts and anything else that would prove the validity of whatever it is they're turning in, so.
I'm having a hard time understanding you.
It reads through the line, I mean, you could equate it to bank statements. It doesn't come out and say bank statements, but if you're gonna show receipts of all your transactions, I don't anticipate them bringing in a shoebox of literal receipts. I would hope it would be bank statements.
I think you can even take it according to the law, Tennessee law, you can take it even a step further than that. I mean, we could designate what they spend the money we give them on. But, you know, I wouldn't be for that, but, you know.
You have to know exactly what each one of them needed, actually, a big process.
Exactly.
I guess part of it could be, you know, along with what y'all said, if they show records of the money that we give them, but they're wasting all the other, when I say wasting, doing something illegally with all their other money, then, you know, there's no way you can see that if we don't get those records. And from my understanding, that when Jim's been looking at on some of these banks, on these records, that he's been finding that they are, you know, taking money, using ATM cards and going taking money out and nobody knows where the money's going. So it's a double-edged sword.
All the money's going in the same pot, so it's kind of hard to say which money exactly belongs to count as contribution, because it's all going in the same place. So let us continue to show you valid expenditures and not turn over the things that would be incriminating. So it's not that cut and dry to just say, we'll just prove the 6,000, for example, is a good use of spending.
I know they're always coming back.
Utilities and not the other stuff.
I know they're always coming back wanting more money. But I remember when there wouldn't be hardly a weekend go by before, if you went through this county, you would see roadblocks for fire departments or other entities where they had roadblocks taking up money for trying to help or get help. But in the last few years, how many of you saw? I said that to say this. Evidently, they're doing pretty good on what county giving.
Yeah, you're right. I've not seen nobody taking up money for a fire department or anything.
Hannah Valley did, Congress Valley did, you know, they have roadblocks. I've not saw one in a long time.
This is just something, again, I wanted to bring up because, you know, if it would help, I guess, for the staff here and for, you know, to see, I personally think it'd be good that they have to provide some type of documentation about their financial records. I mean, if
We
everybody,
need a motion for that.
yes,
I'll make a motion.
okay, got a motion that we put this as a requirement. When they turn in the request, they provide this documentation. Need a second?
For 1 year or 2
Second.
months?
Well, after the
Maybe
first,
yearly.
I'd say one, my personal thought, we do have a second on the floor by Commissioner Golan, so for discussion, I think it'd be good if we do it this year. How many years did he do?
He asked for 3 this year, but he's already said subsequently it only makes sense to do a year at a time.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, he's already got 3 from everybody that's turned them in for this year, so 1 year, I would say 1 year would be what we would need, because he's already seen the previous 3.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
Curtis stated that, not Curtis, but Stacy Bond stated that perhaps the county commission need to pass a resolution giving the mayor the authority to ask for those records.
well, that's what,
I agree with, like you said, if they've got somebody in the organization that is misappropriating money, we should know about it, or have some way to know about it, because when they come to us wanting money, I want to know if they're spending their money wisely before they come and get taxpayers' money. Now, I don't know what the requirements are by the state, on nonprofit organizations, what kind of records they are, supposed to keep. But the way I kept books when I was a treasurer at my church or with the union, I wrote down all the money incoming from any source, and I dispensed it with check with 2 signatures, instead of just giving somebody a card like some car departments did, and go to co-op and fill your truck up. I'm not accusing anybody of wrongdoing, but we did have problems with a couple record keeping. So we need to have some kind of requirement that they provide some information about their record keeping.
well, that's why I brought this up, that we're gonna put this in a resolution that will be submitted,
When I
or
make,
not this month, but next month.
when I make a donation, which I usually do, I'm wondering, did it go in their treasure or in somebody's pocket when I gave it to them or sent it by mail?
Well, the mayor did ask me to come down there, he showed me some of these records on one particular, and when you see an ATM withdrawal for $300 at the first of the month, and then about 8th or 9th, a $300 or $400 withdrawal, just cash from ATM cards, that's what we're looking, that's what he's
Throws
looking
up a
at.
red flag.
It throws up a big red flag.
And I'm old enough to look back at the history, just in this county, churches and banking institutions where people have taken money.
Well, that's been going on right now in this
All over the United States.
Churchill Rescue Squad right now. Of course, that's been in the paper, and about
I
somebody
think that's
doing.
what brought some of this.
That helped bring us to head, yes, so.
Well, anybody that's doing things right, they shouldn't care.
They should not care.
So,
Mr. Vaughn had
Hey,
it
I was
last
wanting
Thursday, and he turned it in.
Yeah, I was at that meeting, I heard him say that he was going to turn it in. Yeah. And that only leaves 2 or 3, I believe, according to.
2 fire departments, and I think Hazmat turned theirs in, didn't they?
Yes, Hazmat did turn
I
it in.
think 2 fire departments, they may have turned them in by now, but.
Do we need to just add a year to his motion?
Yeah, we could. You want just add a year to that motion?
Yeah.
Okay. You good with that? I think Valerie, you're the one, who said it, was that Valerie? Were you good with that, Valerie?
Yes, I'm good with that.
Okay, so we will add it one, put a 1 year requirement on that.
I've been listening, not writing.
Are you talking about for the next fiscal year? For the contributions?
For the budget year coming up,
Okay.
yes.
State the motion.
That the, anybody receiving funds from the county as a donation must provide 1 year of financial records. And if you want to put bank statements on that,
Copies of the check,
I'm sorry,
copies of the checks.
copy of the checks, it's just,
See, this falls under contributions.
Yes,
Well, contributions is a gift.
it's a gift.
Well, that's what I was talking about through the budget committee earlier, back in summer. They said, like the library system, it falls under contributions. But somebody said, and I'm not sure who it was, it doesn't matter, you had to meet banks of effort for the library system. Well, if you have to meet banks of effort for the library system, and it falls under contributions, it don't need to be under contributions.
No, it's
It
not.
needs to be in a line item.
We done
That's
took
fine.
care of a lot of that, right, Eric? That
When we
was,
divvied up contributions versus contribution contracts, we divvied up a lot of that.
yeah, at one time, we had a lot of those contracts under contributions.
Mhm.
So we done took care of a lot of that. I don't know if there's anything else needs to be moved or not.
Who made the original motion, Charles?
Yes, Charles made. And I know this, there was an agency up the road that was complaining about having to turn this paperwork in, and one of the commissioners said, well, if you don't want the money, don't turn the paperwork in. I mean, that's simple.
Right.
That's very simple. If you don't want the money, don't turn your paperwork in. And I think this is gonna be good, that if there is any question, even though, you know, it says in Tennessee Code annotated, he can do that, this will put it right out front where when you apply for money, you know, you see what you've gotta do. And if you don't wanna jump through hoops, don't
I
turn
knew
it
who
in.
it was, but I agree with you because I've been told all my life, plain talk is easy understood.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, my dad taught me that, so I agree with whoever said that.
Any other discussion?
We need to vote on this.
Yes, do a roll call, please.
Okay, Rick Ruder,
Yes.
Bob Eaton, yes. Keith Gibson.
Yes.
Valerie Goins,
Yes.
Raymond Jesse.
Yes.
Charles Thacker.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. All right.